if you want to code at speed and like myself, this is amazing. They talk about it and they structure it, and I can't. Oh, it's so exciting. This is more complicated than I thought. Good evening. It is 9:43 p.m. and I couldn't be more excited to record this video. Today, we're going to talk about Claude Code. It is deep coding at terminal velocity is how they talk about it and they structure it, and I can't. Oh, it's so exciting. Let me show you why this is such a cool thing.
Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to Amplify AI.
I've been coding for a while now. I've been sort of playing, but I've just installed Claude Code and I want to start installing the MCP servers and stuff like that. And I thought maybe I can record while this is happening. So firstly, Claude Code, this is for coders, right? And if you want to code at speed and like myself, this is amazing. So first install Node.js and then do npm install minus. You just copy this and paste it into a terminal. But you've got to actually have Node.js installed for npm to work, obviously. So they kind of have this, I love this line here, deep coding at terminal velocity, because it literally is. And you can build some really, really cool things and some amazing tools that already work with Claude Code. And, just look at the documentation to like get into it, because there's literally so many different use cases, and it works with your API. So you can pay per thing, or if you have pro or max accounts, then you can just connect Claude Code to that and it will use your already existing accounts to, as tokens for Claude Code. So I just want to show you. So obviously I've been coding for a while. I'm building this for a client. I was looking at some of the code, but the team is building. But I got into Claude Code and I noticed here none of the MCP servers are installed. So if you go Claude MCP, again, if you don't know what MCP servers are, it basically connects everything to the world. So Claude MCP minus MCP minus help is how you start. But see here, it gave me the same command back. Obviously, I didn't complete it. So the best way to do this is say Claude MCP list. So what is currently on? So no current MCP servers found. And I can use Claude MCP add to add a server. But in this list, you can import MCP servers from Claude Desktop. So I have a whole bunch of MCP servers installed on my desktop, and I want to see if I can just import them without having to, add and install them all the time. So I'm going to go Claude MCP, and then I'm going to say add from Claude Desktop. And it's found 6 MCP servers in Claude Desktop, which is the MCP installer, the server, file system, Puppeteer, MCP, YouTube, Perplexity, Ask, and Airbnb. And it'll say, ask me what I want to do. I say yes, and it has successfully imported. So all I can do is go back and say MCP list, and it should give me all the different MCP servers that are connected. Now, actually, what you should be doing is going and checking other MCP servers that you can connect. So if I just go and say MCP server Claude Code, see what comes up. So the Anthropic have their own Claude Code MCP servers. So I'll click on that. This is obviously the documentation for this, and you can connect a whole bunch of things. So I've connected the MCP server to install other MCP servers, which is that MCP installer. I've also connected an MCP server to look at my file system, an MCP server that is Puppeteer, which actually sort of controls the mouse and does clicks, and it acts as the Puppeteer, literally what it means. One for YouTube, which means I can kind of say, look at this video and give it a link inside Claude, and it'll go in for Airbnb to find an Airbnb, but also for, where's that list? Perplexity Ask. So configuring MCP servers is obviously there's going into each MCP server and seeing what the configs are is up to each MCP server for you to configure, but I'm not going to really get into that. However, I'm looking for MCP servers. This is not actually what I'm looking for. I think this is a better way to say list of MCP servers. That's what I'm looking for. So actually the one that I've gone to before, but there's other places that you can go and have a look and see what's worked and what's not worked. So model context servers and model context protocol. So you're looking for this GitHub that says MCP service, but there's some other things here that maybe I'll look into this and see what comes up. This is obviously new. I've not seen these before. These are different MCP servers, and this is something that, sort of aggregates them. So I want to look at featured just to see what are the ones here that are really, there's obviously different ones that do different things, and you can keep building your own. So if you're using Cursor or Windsurf, then you can install those MCP servers here. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. So I want to go into that. Actually, let me go back and click on my GitHub original one. This is the one you're looking for. And in here, there's a whole bunch of different servers. So you can connect a Google Drive server, which let's maybe do that. What are the components? Create a new Google Cloud project, enable a Google Drive. Oh, this is more complicated than I thought, only because you got to create an authentication and all that kind of stuff. Let me just go back and find a simpler one. Obviously Slack, which is actually very powerful. Actually, I want to do the AWS one. So come down and look at the MCP for AWS, and you try to look for how to install them, which means you want to go down the list, and I want to install, I'll tell you which one, AWS Bedrock is what I want. Well, that's the Bedrock knowledge base for citation. See, they've got so many MCP servers, so it depends on what you actually want. Let me start by installing the documentation, AWS Documentation MCP server. So anytime I need any documentation from the MCP server, I don't need to do much. It's already in here. So I've obviously come to this point where I wonder whether I can just install it like this. And now you're seeing, so let me see if Claude MCP add. So what I would do in this situation is literally sort of copy this, okay, and I would open, I don't know, Claude, I suppose, and then in here I would say is my logs, okay, copy that, and then I will find this, and I will say, hey, this is the path, so copy the link. I want to install this MCP server on inside my Claude installation. So here's what is really cool about having AI help you is that you can literally ask for some of these things that when you get stuck. And it's so powerful because I used to get to a point where, I tried so much and I would get stuck and it would be really hard to decipher what to do next. So, see, it was really simple. I was missing the quotes and I should have just put that in quotes and it would have worked. I think so. So let me just see if that does work. So now it has the MCP server installed, the latest config for all the AWS docs. So it now knows how to install AWS entirely. And if I go, okay, obviously this is all my projects. So if I go, not all my projects, the new ones. And, I would go and create a new project, open Claude Code. If I was going to do like any development work inside the project, then I would open a new project and start, say, because AWS is for secure data, secure hosting, a whole bunch of different things that you can use it for. Now I have all the documentation inside Claude Code, so then you can use that documentation to actually develop or write the code in the way AWS wants it. Actually, that's very powerful. So I don't know. I hope that was useful, but that's how you install MCP servers. And this is Ronsley.
Hey, AI Geek. Thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI geeks by going to amplifyais.com. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI geek. Until then, much love.